West Ham are not in a relegation battle. In fact, they're in a European battle and won't be signing anybody in the January transfer window. Those are not my words. Those are the words of David Moyes, who was on TalkSport earlier. I'll tell you exactly what he said in a minute, don't worry. But he spoke with Simon Jordan and Jim White ahead of the Premier League resuming next week, where he was asked about West Ham being in a relegation battle, but he said, no, we're not. In fact, we're in a European battle. He was obviously asked about the January transfer windows that opens in less than 2 weeks, but he stated that it's unlikely to see any business at the London Stadium, and he gave his reasons why. In this video, I'll tell you exactly what he said. I'll give you my view. I want to hear your view, and we're giving away these 2 items. We've got the Ultra Smooth package, and we've also got the Lawnmower 4, both courtesy of Manscaped. Later on in the video, I'll tell you how you can enter and get your hands on those, but we're going to have 2 winners today. Anyway, before I tell you what Moyes said, let's have a little reminder of what the Premier League looks like today ahead of it resuming on Boxing Day. Open them. I know it's a bit grim to look at, but there's West Ham. 16th in the league, 1 point outside the bottom 3. Then if you have a look at the European places, which is currently the top 5, but let's just assume the top 6 is European football, we're 8 points behind Liverpool. So that's the context. That's what the Premier League looks like. So when David Moyes was asked if he's in a relegation battle going back into Premier League football, he said, no, I think I'm in a European battle to try and get back into Europe like we've done in the last 2 years. I think that we've not been that far away in any of our results, and it sounds a long way away, and it probably sounds far-fetched at the moment. But I genuinely think we're not that far away and expect us to be closer to the top than I do the bottom. Our pre-season targets have changed, because I was hoping that I would be in Europe, and I'm now saying that I still want to be challenging for Europe. Now, when I first saw the headline, which is West Ham are not in a relegation battle and are instead in a battle to qualify for Europe again, I'll be honest with you, I was concerned. I saw it and I thought, wow, okay, this is worrying. Is David Moyes aware of the league table? Is he aware of how close we are to the bottom 3? And the word that came into my head is quite a strong word, which is deluded. I thought, this man is deluded. But I read it, and I've seen what David Moyes has said, and I think this is important. That last paragraph there provides context. I think it just completely lessens the tone altogether. Moyes, it sounds like at the start, Moyes is saying we're trying to get into the top 6. We want to qualify for the Europa League again. And that's when I was a bit like, whoa, no chance. Absolutely no chance is that happening. But that last paragraph just explains David Moyes' thinking, David Moyes' attitude, and I have to say, I actually agree with it. I know. A lot of you are going to be disagreeing with me, but just hear me out. He didn't say he expects us to get European football or he expects us to finish in top 6. His aim has now changed, and that's an acknowledgement to at the start of the season his aims was to finish in the top 6 to get European football, and it should have been the aims before a ball was kicked in the Premier League. Spending 180 million, of course that's got to be your aim, to get back into European football. But now he's saying it's no longer that, it's to be in that pack that are challenging for European football, and it's 2 completely different aims and 2 completely different positionings in the league. The first one is top 6, the second one is that pack behind the European lot. So you've got your greedy 6, you've got Newcastle United, that's the top 7. I think it's signed, sealed and delivered that those 7 teams will be the top 7 of the Premier League. And I think what Moyes is now saying is we want to be in the group of teams after that. So Brighton, at the minute you've got Fulham, Crystal Palace, he wants to be in there. I guess this is the question, what is your definition of challenging for European football? What does that mean? To me, top 10 with 5 games to go in the Premier League, maybe you've got a chance of finishing 7th or 8th in the Premier League, something like that. And I think that has to be the aim at the minute. Is it realistic? Is it going to happen? I'm not saying that, but I am saying that has to be the aim. Because if our manager came out and basically said, oh yeah, we're in a relegation battle, it's going to be tough, we might be in the Championship, I'd be a bit more concerned if the manager came out with a defeatist attitude immediately. Yes, it would be realistic to acknowledge we're in a relegation battle. To say no, we're not in a relegation battle is, I think, dishonest is perhaps the word I would use. And I'm going to provide a little bit of context, but there's something in that worries me more than what he said about the European battle thing, because I get why he's saying it, and I think it's the right thing to do, to have that attitude, to come out and say that, to try and galvanise the players and the fans and say, no, we're looking up, we're moving up kind of thing. And Ben Johnson's spoken about how Moyes doesn't speak to them about relegation. Moyes' attitude is, you do what you're supposed to do. Collectively, we do what we're supposed to do. We all play well, individually and together. The performances will then come. Performances will lead to results. We'll move up the table. We'll be away from the relegation zone. We'll never have to discuss it. And that's what I think Moyes' attitude is. And that's in line with what he said on TalkSport earlier. And this is something Moyes has done a couple of years ago as well. It's nothing new. So, like I said, initially when I saw the headline, I know it's a bit hypocritical because of what we do on this channel. When I saw it, I was a bit like, whoa. I was concerned. And then I read it, and like I said, that last paragraph provides the context. And I don't think he means he expects us to finish 6th. I think he's suggesting that if we can finish 9th and not be too far away from that pack, then we'll have had a good second half of the season. I'm making right in that. If we do finish top half of the table, we've done something right between now and the end of May. But I'll tell you what concerns me in just a minute. But before I do, this video is in collaboration with Manscaped, the #1 male grooming company. Now we're giving away 2 items. We've got the Ultra Smooth package, and we've also got the Lawnmower 4. Manscaped sent them to us to give away or to keep. But me and Gonzo got one of these months ago, about a year ago, and it's still going strong. I use it regularly. It's still going fantastically well. So we're giving both items away to 2 different people. All you have to do is tell us which one you'd prefer to win. Go to the Manscaped website. The link is in the description of this video. Check out both of them, what you get in each box, what the benefits are of both tools to look after your tool. Let us know which one you prefer. Even if you're talking about Moyes, even if you're talking about what Moyes is saying at the end of it, just say which one you prefer. You've entered into the draw. Simple as that. However, if you don't wish to rely on my hands picking something out, not shaving it or anything like that, if you don't wish to rely on winning a prize and you want to get your hands on one, you don't want to rely on Santa being kind to you on Christmas Day, head over to the Manscaped website, put everything in your basket, use the code HammersChat. You'll get 20% off everything on their website, plus free worldwide shipping as well. Speaking from experience, these are fantastic products and they keep you downstairs looking good. Anyway, I'm talking about getting rid of unwanted pubes. Let's talk about getting rid of unwanted players. Actually, before we do that, before we do the January transfer window talk, the paragraph that worried me, this worried me. I think we've been not that far away in any of our results. Now that sentence concerns me a lot. It concerns me more than the European battle thing, because that suggests he's happy, that he's satisfied with the performances, that he believes we've just been a bit unlucky, that if we do what we did in the first half of the season, we replicate that for the rest of the season, we'll be okay. And I don't think that's true, and I don't think that tells the story. I don't feel we've been unlucky. There's been 1 or 2 games. Nottingham Forest, I think we could have scored 3 on another day. Chelsea away, got mugged off by VAR. We should have got something out of that game. But generally, by and large, we've got what we've deserved, which is a defeat in most games. Leicester, the last game, that was dreadful. Crystal Palace, we probably deserved to lose it. Regardless of when that goal was scored, it doesn't really matter. We got nothing at the end of it, and we deserved nothing. And this is my biggest concern reading what David Moyes has said today. It sounds a bit like we've been unlucky, and I don't think we have been. The teams around us at the bottom of the table are changing managers. We're continuing to do what we have been doing. In the friendlies, it looks like we're doing what we have been doing at the start of the season. We are free-falling towards that relegation zone, and that concerns me. That sentence worries me far more than him saying we're not in a relegation battle. I get why he's saying that. When he says we're in a European battle, I get it. But when he says we've been a bit unlucky, well, he didn't say that. He said we've been close in results or whatever it was. That concerns me, because that's the bit I actually disagree with massively. Because if we do what we've done in the first half of the season for the second half, we could get relegated. It's a huge possibility, and that worries me a lot, because it's not just a 3-week bad slump. It's not even a 3-month bad slump. It's the whole calendar year, the whole of 2022. We have played poorly. The results have been poor. Player performances aren't great at the minute either, and that worries me the most. That bit that he said sounds like he's satisfied with what he's seen so far this season, and we've been a little bit unlucky, and I couldn't disagree more. I don't think we've been unlucky. Some games we have been, yes, but likewise there will be games where we're actually a little bit fortunate and we get more than we deserved in that fixture. I didn't like it. I did not like that little bit. Now I wouldn't describe that as deluded. That would be too strong, but dishonest is the word I would use. I don't think it tells the full story. Obviously, me and him are going to have different views on how things happen. He's a football manager. He's a football expert. I'm just a football fan on a webcam. That's all. But I don't know. That worries me. Anyway, we'll talk about the January transfer window because he was asked about that naturally, and he basically asked if we're going to sign anybody when the window reopens. He says, "Nah, I don't think we will." Because I have to say, the board did really well by us and spent a good amount of money in the summer. We brought in 9 new players, which is more than anybody would want to really. But we needed it because we've got a European campaign again. He goes on to talk about the amount of games we've played, justifying why we brought in 9 players in the summer. But he does leave the door open. He puts a couple of disclaimers in there, which is if the right player becomes available, we'll never say never, but it's unlikely. And I expected him to say this. I expect him to say nothing else other than what he has said today in regards, because he's hardly going to broadcast that we've got money to spend, like Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest, I don't know his position at the club, the owner, I would assume, has come out basically saying we're going to buy 2 players in January transfer. He's told the world already, we've got money to spend. Moyes was never going to do that, and it probably does rely on outgoings. It possibly relies on Torino buying Nikola Vlasic in the January transfer window for 12 million so we can get money in and maybe use that in the January transfer window. It possibly relies on Sefal leaving or Masuaku making his move permanent early. Not that that money is going to do much for the kitty, but there's plenty of reasons to why West Ham won't sign anyone in the January transfer window. I just hope we do. I made it no secret that I would like to see a right back arrive, and when Moyes speaks like that, I don't read anything into it whatsoever. Last January we did nothing. We should have brought in somebody. We brought in nobody. But you go back to 2019 when we were in a relegation battle, and he was happy to admit we're in a relegation battle back then because it wasn't his doing. And I think this is where it's a little bit different and possibly a little bit frustrating, because when he spoke his interview a couple of days ago, he did that like a mobile interview with the club, and it's all positive as you'd expect, and I have no problem with it because it's going on the West Ham's YouTube channel. It's hardly going to be interrogating David Moyes, is it? But in there he got asked about his best achievements in football, and when he referred to West Ham and European football, he reminded us that actually I kept you up twice, and those achievements are not to be underestimated. It's not as easy as it looks. But what he was doing was acknowledging in there, I took over from Slaven Bilic, you were down the bottom of the table, I kept you up. I took over from Pellegrini, you were down the bottom of the table, I kept you up. Those circumstances in which he came into is not too dissimilar today. In terms of league position, in terms of games played, in terms of points, I'm pretty certain that Pellegrini's last X games compared to Moyes' last X games the same, which got Pellegrini sacked. Pellegrini had a better record than what Moyes is currently on. So Moyes can't really suggest that he took over a team in a relegation battle under Pellegrini and then say that today's one isn't a relegation battle. It's one or the other. So have you done well to keep us up? Well, this is a relegation battle then. If you're suggesting that those 2 instances when you came in, you were entering a relegation battle, which I do not disagree with, you can't then dismiss this one and say this one isn't one, because I don't think that's consistent. I think you have to be consistent and acknowledge those 2 were danger of relegation and this one's danger of relegation at this point. That's my view anyway. In regards, like I said, January transfer window, I'm not bothered. I expected him to say that, but it's just that sentence he said about how he doesn't think we're too far away from the results, so there's not been much in it. That concerns me, because I think at some games, I think there's been a lot in it. I don't think we've been in the game from start to finish. Well, usually the last 10-15 minutes we rally together, don't we, and throw the kitchen sink at them. But generally speaking, we are where we deserve to be in the league. And it's not 16, it's 1 point outside the bottom 3. But when you look at that league table, let's take a quick glance at it. Wolves changed their manager. Southampton changed their manager. Nottingham Forest publicly admitting they're going to spend money in the January transfer window. Everton, nothing yet. Leeds, nothing yet, but they will spend in the January transfer window as well. You look at Villa just up ahead of us, changed their manager too. Leicester are improving. You're quickly drawing a line through a lot of these teams as to why they're going to do okay. But when you get to West Ham, I struggle to justify why West Ham will be okay. And I wish I was as optimistic as David Moyes sounds, but I'm not. But on this instance, I don't think the headline is as bad as it seems in relation to Moyes thinking we're in a European battle or wanting to be in a European battle. That has to be the aim. I agree with him. Get into the top half. That's got to be the aim. Will it happen? I don't think so. But I'd be more disappointed if Moyes came out and said we're probably going to get relegated than he did if he came out and said he wants to be in a European battle. I get why he said it. Anyway, I'm going to disappear. If you fancy getting your hands on one of the Manscaped prizes, you know how to enter. Just let us know which one you prefer in the comments. But please do leave your comments on this topic. I'm looking forward to reading them later on tonight. And tomorrow will be our next interview. And this time it's with Nigel Winterburn. Bit of a topical one. Playing Arsenal on Monday. So we spoke about Paulo Di Canio. Obviously got reunited with him at West Ham after that incident between Arsenal and Sheffield Wednesday. Spoke about Harry Redknapp, Glenn Roeder getting relegated with that team. What player went missing? And when I say missing, I don't mean leaving training like Di Canio did, although he touches on that. A player just wouldn't turn up for training and nobody would know who he is. So that video will be up tomorrow. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. I did, but I'm biased because I got to sit there and speak to Nigel. But hopefully it makes a good video for people to watch. But if you've enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you tomorrow.